Okay, well, let's go ahead and get started. Again, my name is Katie. I'm one of the support team members here at Aplos. Today, we're going over an introduction to Aplos, so we're going to take a look at the different products that we offer, some basic navigation through the software, and setup, and then we'll open it up at the end for some questions. So you should hopefully all be able to see my screen here. And what we're looking at here is the dashboard screen. And the dashboard is going to be the first screen you see whenever you log into Aplos, and it's going to be giving you an overview of what's happening in your account. So as you enter transactions and are working in the software, you'll see different metrics available based on that data. Something to keep in mind is the numbers here are all rounded to whole numbers. So if you're wanting to see the actual numbers, you can always click View Reports to see the reports that these graphs and charts are based on. You can also change the different metrics that you're viewing, so you do have a little bit of customization there as far as what you want to include on your dashboard page. But your dashboard is kind of the bird's eye view of what's happening in your account. If you're a new user, if you're in your free trial or just still getting set up, you'll see this setup status percentage over here on the right, and this will help you keep track of what you've done so far and what you still need to do. The go to setup button will take you to like a checklist of sorts to see what you need to do in the account to get started and what still needs to be done. So that's a great tool to kind of keep track of your progress as you're just getting started with the software. So the first thing I want to do is I'm just going to be going through the navigation of the software here and explaining things as we go. So the dashboard, along with these next three items on the left side navigation here, these are all items that are universal to the software. So no matter which products you're using, in Aplos, you'll have these sections available to you. So again, the dashboard is going to be a basic overview of what's happening in your account. Your account settings. Now, this is a universal piece, but only to the administrators of the account. So if you do add additional users to your account, you certainly can. Each user will have their own role or permission within the account as far as what they have access to. So any user that's not an administrator will not have settings available to them. They won't really need that. But as the administrator, you'll have access to settings. This is where you can set up your organization information. You can manage and add users to your account. And if you do have multiple users on the account, you'll also be able to access the activity log, which will show who's logged in, what changes they've made. So this is a great tool for internal controls, just to keep an accountability system set, so you as the administrator can see who's logging in and what changes they've made. But the thing I want to highlight here in settings is the subscription page. So kind of go over some pricing for you guys. So the subscription page of settings, you can access this at any time to make any changes or updates to your subscription. Aplos is based on a monthly subscription, but there's no contracts, so you're not locked into anything. You can change your subscription at any time. It's a month-to-month subscription. You do have the option here on the right to pay annually instead of monthly, and there is a 10% discount that's automatically applied if you do want to do that. So the pricing here for we have a few different products available, which is what we're going to be going through in just a bit. But our accounting product, let me show you the options here. So the accounting product has a few different levels. If you're just looking for accounting software only, it's $25 a month for a single user, and you can add additional users for $15 a month. So it'd be a total of $40 a month for just the accounting with either single or multiple users. So you'll be able to use the fund accounting product and run reports. The standard accounting product, which is kind of one of our most popular products. It includes both our accounting product as well as contributions management, which is the functionality that allows you to track and manage your donations. So you'll be able to record the contributions you receive and generate statements for your donors at the end of the year. And so that's $40 a month. And again, you can also add multiple users for an additional $15, and that would bring your total to $55 a month for the standard package. And then we just recently released our advanced accounting product. So this is for organizations that are a little bit larger, that have some additional needs and functionalities available to them. And so that starts at $120 a month. And we do have a webinar that specifically goes over the advanced features. Today, we're going to be focusing feature-wise, at least more on the starter and standard accounting functionality, as well as the donations and donor relations products. But if you do have questions about the advanced accounting product, we'd be happy to get you some more information on that. Just let us know, and we'd be happy to do that. So again, you can select whatever subscription place fits your organization best. And if you start at the starter, and as your organization grows, you need to adjust or change your subscription, you can certainly do that at any time. So we'll stick with the standard that we'll go over today. We also have a donor management product, donor relations, and this is largely a communications piece. So the donor relations product, which you see on the left here, that we'll be going over, is going to allow you to send emails from the software to donors and supporters, and kind of track some additional contact information for them. We do also have some integrations coming up with some other donor management companies. So be on the lookout for that. We'll be announcing, the different companies that we're going to be integrating with that have, that's their specialty and functionality. So you'll be able to use their software and integrate it with your Aplos account. So that is coming as well. And so I have a couple of questions here that are related here to what we're talking about. So for users, kind of going back to users here. So the different roles for users, when you're adding a new user, you'll be able to select their role. And the roles right now for users are based on the products or functionality that the person has access to. So administrator has access to everything in the account, including settings. Manager would be for everything in the account except for settings. And then there's product specific users as well, and you can also set up auditors, which would have access to view the information in the account but not make changes. So you'll be able to select the user role for that. And so for the additional $15 a month for the multiple users, that's not a per user cost, it's a flat fee. So it's the pricing on the subscription page here. Let me show you this again, is based on either a single user subscription or multiple users. So once you add another user, once you're at the multiple user subscription, you can add as many as you need. So there's no limit to the number of users you can add once you add them. So it's $15 for however many users you need to add. So that is kind of an overview of settings. Again, I'll feel free to send questions over, and I will loop around to them at the end here. But we'll go ahead and move on down the line here on the left to contacts. So this is another section that's universal to the software, no matter what products you're using. And so your contacts in Aplos are going to consist of anyone really that you are going to be recording a transaction for. So whether it's a vendor or a donor, any individual that or company that you're wanting to store contact information for will be in your contacts. So you'll be able to, let's look at an example contact here. So you'll be able to store their basic contact information, email, address, phone number. if there's additional information that you wanted to save for your contacts, we do have custom fields available. So you can see for this contact for Alex, we have a membership date. So if you wanted to store something like that, or any other additional information that's not kind of the basic contact information, you can create a custom field to store that. We also have groups available, which really comes into play and is helpful for donor relations, to group contacts, maybe that you're going to be communicating with in certain groups, but you can also use groups to just further organize your contacts into different categories. So you'll be able to create contact groups and include contacts in those groups to further organize them and be able to run a report that's filtered by a contact group. So the contacts for the accounting and donations products, you'll have their details page and a transactions page. So whether they're a donor, if they have, maybe they're a contractor or someone that you're making payments out to, you'll have a list of transactions that you can view for the individual. And so those are the two screens that'll be available for contacts. If you're using the donor relations product, you'll also have a few other areas that you can utilize in contacts. So you're able to keep track of relationships. So you can, you'll see for this contact here, we have a spouse and a coworker contact that are linked to Alex's contact. So this just helps you keep track of the relationships between your contacts. You can also keep a communications log. So we'll go over in a little bit later in the webinar, we'll go over the emails that you can send from Aplos. And so anything that's sent from the software will be automatically tracked here. But if you maybe sent an outside email to an individual, or maybe had a phone call or a coffee meeting with them, you can record all of that. And you can also set a reminder for yourself for a future communication as well. And then the final section here is notes. So any other additional notes or comments you want to be able to store for a particular person, you'll be able to do that. So again, relationships, communications, and notes are unique additions to the contact section if you're using donor relations. But otherwise, you'll always have details for the contact, and you'll always have transactions. So the last universal kind of section here is reports. And I'm going to just want to show you this page of what's available, various different reports with some different options or variations to each type of report. I'm going to touch on the reports that are related to the sections as we're going on. But again, reports are going to be universal to the software, just depending on what products you're using, it will determine what reports you're seeing on this page here. So let's go ahead and move straight into the different products that Aplos offers. First one we're going to go over is accounting. So under accounting, you'll see the different sections or areas available for this product. The first one here is advanced settings. What's listed here, these are all modules that are available in the accounting product. There's no additional charge to use them or obligation to use them if you don't need them. But anything that you do want to use, you'll want to just make sure the option is set to show, so that's enabled for you. Anything you're not going to use, you can switch over to hide, so that's removed from your interface for you. So you're not obligated to use any of these, but there's no additional cost if you do need to or do want to use any of them. So those can be enabled and managed here. The next section here is really when you're using our accounting product, this is usually the first place that we really suggest you going to get things set up. So the accounts page here is where you can set up your chart of accounts. Aplos allows you to create your own custom chart of accounts with all the accounts and funds that your organization needs to operate. Aplos is a fund accounting software, which means in addition to your chart of accounts, or included in your chart of accounts, are your funds. So nonprofits and churches work a little differently than a typical business, in the sense that they need to be able to keep track of money that's designated for different purposes, which would be your funds. Your funds allow you to keep track of balances that are designated for specific things, tracking the income and the expense and the running balance for that purpose. So even if your organization only operates out of one bank account, your funds allow you to know within that bank account how much money you have set aside for blank. And that question is usually, if you're not sure what to set up as a fund, that's usually the question that we suggest asking yourself. Do I need to know how much money I have for blank? And anything that you can fill in that blank that you need to have a separate balance for and keep track of, you'd want to set up as a fund. So you might have for your different projects, or if you have a grant that you're needing to keep track of how that's being spent, and the money that you receive for that grant, that would be something else you can set up as a fund. So you'll be able to set up the different funds that your organization operates out of, as well as the different types of accounts. So your asset accounts, which are things that your organization owns. So the most basic level, that's your bank accounts. You can set up your liability accounts, which are going to be anything your organization owes. So if you have a credit card, or if you have a loan or anything like that, you can set that up there. The equity section here, so this is the only section that you won't actually be adding an account to, but anytime you add a fund in the software, the software will automatically create a corresponding equity account, and this equity account is how you'll keep track of the balance of your funds. So you'll see those listed here. And then the final two are your income and your expense accounts, which are the categories or the type of money that you receive and the money that you spend. So another way to think about your income and expense are your budget line items, because when you create a budget, your budget line items will come from these accounts. So you'll be able to customize this to fit what your organization needs. There's a few different levels of organization. You've got the account type, obviously, and these gray headers here are what we call account groups. So you can't transactions won't be assigned to an account group, but these are available to be displayed on reports. So you can decide to include account groups and their subtotals. So on a report, you'd be able to include this header here as well as a subtotal for the accounts that are listed underneath it. So there's the account group, the accounts themselves, and you can also set up sub-accounts. So, one example that I like to give is for utilities. You might have a utilities expense account, but you may also want to add a sub-account for maybe power, water, and gas. So you can track those specific utility expenses separately, but also have kind of a roll-up total of what you're spending totally in the utilities area of your organization. So that's your chart of accounts. We also have tags available for further customization of transactions. So if you have fundraiser maybe that you need to, you want to know how profitable it is. All the money is still going to go, let's say, to your missions fund, but you want to know for that specific spring fundraiser that you're going to have how much income came in for that and how much expense was spent for that. You can create a custom tag for that so that you can mark those related transactions and be able to run a report that's filtered that way. So again, that's the chart of accounts. And also just want to mention here, the budgeting module is available from this accounts page as well. So if you wanted to create and manage a budget, that would be done here. I'm going to move along here. I know this is a lot of information, but just want to kind of give an overview. We do have webinars that go specifically over each of our products in more detail. So we'd be happy to help you get to those as well. But let's go ahead and just touch on the last section here. So accounting is all about creating your chart of accounts, which is kind of your foundation or skeleton, and then your transactions are kind of the body or the meat of what you're going to be doing here. The majority of your time, once your chart of accounts is set up in the accounting product, is going to be spent here in the transactions page. So this is where you can record your transactions. You'll see a list or history of the transactions you've already posted. So there's different transaction screens, whether it's the register or journal entry, or if you're linking your bank account to download the transaction information from your bank. That's all available here in transactions. So as you record transactions here in the accounting product, you'll then be able to run your reports to see that information. So your income statement is going to be showing you a total list of your income and expense accounts with their balances. Again, with the report layout options, you can subtotal by group or include sub-accounts on your reports, just like we saw on the accounts page. So you can include those headers and their subtotals. But your income statement is going to give you information about your income and expense totals. Your balance sheet report is going to be showing you the balances for your any asset accounts you have, any liabilities, and then in your equity section here is where you'll see those fund balances listed. So if you're wanting to know a fund balance at any given point, you can take a look at this report, as well as if you're needing to see all of your totals for your asset and liability accounts listed. And then there's some other reports available to see more details on transaction lists and other areas that you've recorded transactions. So that's kind of the kind of 3 points of the accounting is setting up your chart of accounts, entering transactions, and then running reports. We'll go ahead and move on here to donations. So the donations product is separate from accounting, but it can be used in addition to that. So you can link them together. They do play nicely together. So the purposes page is the first item under donations, and purposes in donations are the categories or the reasons why you're receiving a donation. And these can be linked to the accounting, which is what you see with this chain link icon here. So purposes that you create, if you are using both our accounting and donations products, so if you're using, for example, the standard accounting subscription, which would include both products, both functionalities, you are able to not only create a purpose and label the name, but you can also link that to your chart of accounts. So you can choose an income account and a fund that should correspond with that purpose. So a lot of times with the setup, if you're using both products, the creation of your purposes can seem a bit redundant because they are going to be linked, but in the long run, it's going to save you a lot of time because it'll be linked for you. So the purposes page, again, you'll be able to set up the different areas that you need to track donations for. And then those purposes are used when recording your donations. So whether that is through an online form or whether it's through manual entry, your purposes are what you're going to be using to record your transactions. So online forms, we do have online donations available through the software. We've partnered with WePay to be able to process those payments, but the online forms allow you to create an online donation form or several forms if you have the desire to do that, with the ability to collect those online donations that are going to be tracked for you automatically in the software. And those would be tracked here in contributions. So whether it's an online donation, which is going to be posted for you automatically, or if you're just recording cash or check donations, contributions management is where you're going to be doing that. So when you enter these, you'll be entering them in batches. So if you receive weekly donations, or if you have donations from a particular event, you can record those all together. And let's look at a example here. So this batch that was posted was for Sunday donations. There's 2 donations that were received, and You can select multiple purposes. So, if there's donations you received all on the same day, but they came in for different purposes, you can select that. And then the entries here, because we've linked our purposes to an income account and a fund, you're able to when you post this batch of donations, it's not only tracking the donation record for these two individuals, but it's also going to be posting a deposit in our checking register to track the income. So that's where linking those purposes really comes into play, because you're not only tracking an individual donation record, but you are tracking the income, so you don't have to go back into your accounting and post a separate deposit. The software will post the deposit for you. So again, contributions management, you can manually record donations that you receive, or if you're using our online forms, you'll have an entry that looks something like this that's posted automatically for you. So it's still tracking the donation record, but all of this information is pulled in from the form that the donor filled out. So those ones will be posted for you, and then you would just be manually entering any cash or check donations, anything that comes in outside of the online form. So once your donations are recorded here, the kind of big report for donations is the contributions statements that you generate at the end of the year, typically. So the donations by contact report on the reports page was going to be all the way down at the bottom here is the report you'll want to run. So you'll notice the report will be listing all of the donations you've received for the selected date period here, and they'll be sorted by donor. So the contributions report will show you everybody's donations and their totals, but you'll use the generate statements button here to download a PDF file with the individual statement for each person. So the report in the software will show you everybody's information on one report. The statements will be individualized, so you'll have a statement for each person. So that's kind of donations in a nutshell. And then the last product here that we'll touch on, and then I'll open it up here for questions, is the donor relations product. So again, this is largely the communications piece that's available within the software. You're able to track kind of a to-do list or activities for your donors and supporters. You're able to create email templates and schedule those to be sent out to your donors and supporters, and kind of manage their activity. So as I mentioned in contacts, there's the relationships, communications, and notes functionalities that are added to contacts when you're using the donor relations product. And so those are added to contacts, and then you also have these functionalities available as well. So the feed is going to be kind of giving you a running to-do list or a running overview of activity that's happened with donors, whether it's a donation that's been received from a new donor, or whether if you've saved an anniversary or birth date for a contact, that'll show up on the feed for you as well. If you've set a reminder for yourself to contact somebody, that will also show up here with their due date. So this is kind of your quick action screen to view what's going on and help you kind of keep a to-do list of what's upcoming and what needs to be done. Campaigns and templates, these are closely related. The campaigns are actually the sending out of your emails. The templates are the just creating some preloaded or pre-created content. So it's easy and quick to send an email. You create the content once and then customize it before sending that out. Right now, there are automatic emails that are sent out from the software. Right now, they're all related to the online donation functionality. So if you're using the online donations functionality in the software, you can edit the auto email that goes out from the system to include information about your organization. Let's take a look at one of these here. So the bulk content of these auto emails does need to stay the same, because this is their receipt and confirmation that their donation was successfully processed. But you can certainly customize this to make it more unique to your organization. So that's what you're doing in the auto emails, as well as if there was a donor that for whatever reason needs their one of their receipt emails resent to them, they lost it or they deleted it. If you're using donor relations, you can log in here to resend their email to them. So that's kind of donor relations is the focus of this product here, is to be able to communicate with donors and supporters and really connect with them. Last, just to touch on here, the e-file product. We do offer e-file services for the Form 990N and 990EZ, which is the federal tax filing required for nonprofits. The 990N would be for organizations that have less than 50,000 in gross receipts for the year. The 990EZ would be for organizations that are between 50,000 and 200,000. Anything above 200,000 would require the full Form 990, which unfortunately we don't offer for e-file services, but you can check with the IRS for any of their approved e-file providers. But this software is available to you if your organization does need to file that. You'll be taken through a wizard to complete and file the form. So those are a very quick overview of all the products that we offer here at Aplos. I know that's a lot of information packed into a small amount of time, but we do have some time here to open it up for questions. So I'm going to go ahead and put myself on mute to let you guys take a few minutes to send any questions over, and then I will be back and we can go over that. If you need to get going though, thanks again for joining us for today's webinar. Please feel free to contact our support team. Either here in the software, you can use the conversation icon to send us a direct message, or feel free to give us a call at 888-274-1316, and we'd be happy to help you out. So I'm going to open it up for questions, and I'll be right back to go over and address those.